Welcome to another episode of Project Management for Small Business. I'm your host, Anthony Pavelich. And today we have with us GP. After many years as a director of operations in the hospitality industry, he became obsessed over quality of the product he was handling. He would also meticulously make sure that any venues and restaurants were organized, cleaned, and open for business. He created strategies on how to efficiently and effectively clean without cutting corners. With that, an idea came for him to use these set of skills and open his own business in cleaning. He feels it's his mission not to only give the best service, but to do the best service. GPower Cleaning Services strives to be the cut above in cleaning and customer service industry. Thank you for joining me, GP.
Yeah, no problem.
We're going to get started today just to get a little bit of a background of what your business is,
right,
where you're at, any struggles that you've reached across the way.
Okay.
So just to start out, give us a background of what you do.
Sure. Primarily, my business is residential cleaning. I started off independently about a year ago. In the past year, I've been able to generate enough business now that I can kind of ease off on physically working. And then what I do is I have a group of employees who go out and do the rest of our properties that we have, and just trying to build business right now. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. I did 20 years in the hospitality industry, and so I was more involved in restaurant and hotel, believe it or not, and just more recently, like a year ago, I kind of wanted to give up the hospitality game just because I had a family and it's growing, and spend a little bit more time with them. Not really having a background in it, and kind of doing it by myself and physically doing it by myself to kind of learn at the same time. And so a lot of mistakes made along the way, and still mistakes being made, but a lot of learning with it. Yeah.
So how many employees do you have now?
Well, I mean, technically...
or contractors, or...
Yeah, within contractors, I partner up with another company for a gentleman called Talent Inc., and what he does, he basically leases out or rents out contracted employees for factories or where I used to use it in the hospitality industry. And so he has over 700 himself of employees. We kind of use it in our commercial side to fill up any factory work that we're doing at the time. But personal employees for myself, we carry maybe 2 or 3 right now that are part-time employees, and they just kind of go with all my residential cleans that I have and kind of get that done. But other than that, I do utilize a lot of contractors, so to speak, just because it's a personal choice right now, only because I don't trust a lot of people for some reason. It's kind of the way I grew up. I don't trust people, and I'm very finicky with how things are done, and so contract is good for me because I can see different individuals and see how they work, and maybe just assess in the future. Okay, who do I want to keep? Who don't I want to keep?
Yeah, so it's a good probationary way to find somebody and not have to commit to keep bringing them on.
It's kind of the way business is being done with a lot of manufacturing anyways, because it's just it costs too much to pay somebody to come in for X amount of hours in the day, so it's better just to contract, say, okay, this is the work, you get it done, and just you pay somebody to just kind of bring in people for you. Pre-trained already, and these are people that have already safety trained as well. These are people that have been, so it skips a lot of steps for you to move a little bit faster.
So this manufacturing, is that a business you're involved in? Or?
Well, so residential is residential is primary business for me. And so day to day is kind of, we do 50 residences, and we are trying to expand on that. I like to throw a little bit more into the mix and see where my diversification can be. I find it obviously in the commercial end as well, and so we take care of a couple of buildings, one being a manufacturing building. I schedule and manage their cleans for the week. Okay. So it's not basically we go in once a week, we go in there 5 times a week, and one of those days is a deep clean, and then the next day we're just doing windows, and the next day we're just doing this. So it's kind of a way of figuring out where I can diversify and where I can expand my business in the future by having maybe 2 or 3 accounts right now and working on them and perfecting that management style, and then eventually again moving into something like that.
You said you've messed up a lot, or you've had a lot of...
Yeah, there's natural mistakes along the way, because there's things I've never done before.
So what kind of things have you tried that didn't work for you, that you're like...
Pricing. A lot of it has to do with pricing. Sometimes I price too low just to get the bid, right? Just to get the job, and I'm like, I gotta pay everybody. I have no money at the end.
I think that's a common thing where people think, oh my God, I should have...
or biting off too much that to chew, and it comes in like, oh, I can do this or I can do that. I can totally involve myself in something that I've never really done before and trying to figure it out. And a lot of it is in the more of the construction side of things too, where I forget that my business is in cleaning and I should just keep it that way. And sometimes I follow up and saying, oh, I can fix this for you. Oh, no problem. I can get that done for you as well. And just to realize I should just be perfecting at something I'm just doing.
I can't tell you how many times that you've offered to like, oh, I can come help you build that.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
It's a lot of it has to do with the background that was in hospitality and a lot of things that I try to be the master of all trades somehow.
I interviewed somebody yesterday who said that he's finally come to the realization that he can't say yes to everything. And he's now got this rule that if he does say yes to something new, he has to say no to something else.
Yeah.
To make sure that he doesn't overwork himself. Or you double book people, or exactly. So I was like, that's a good rule.
Yeah, and fake making excuses and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
So you've got now a couple of employees. You've got, you said like around 50 residences you're doing.
Yeah, so residentially we're trying to expand right now, and with that, I have my wife involved with me, and so she kind of came in maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. She has a background in many things. She was a great retail worker as a salesperson, working for Aritzia. Moved on from there, and she did hotel operations. Moved on from there, was kind of involved in life coaching as a personal executive assistant, and learned a lot of tools from there that we're utilizing right now in our business. And then so she took the leap of faith and kind of wanted to join it and help me. And she manages me. That's kind of her job right now.
Well, I was going to say life coaching. She'll sit you down and say, okay, how can we fix you?
Yeah, how can we fix you? That's basically what she does, right? And she goes, you shouldn't be really concentrating on this, and concentrate on this more. And this is kind of what's trending right now, and this is what we should be using. And then so on and so forth. And kind of had to rewire my brain because I'm old school. And I'm sort of set in my ways and the way I did things. And I was mentored by a lot of older guys back in the day when I was learning the restaurant business, that it kind of cemented a lot of things for me of how I react to things and how I do things, and they're not necessarily the right things, to tell you the truth, and how we do things today. So I really had to conform to what we have to do now.
Yeah, you have to learn to change, and you have to learn.
Yeah,
markets change, our customers change all the time.
Yeah,
our technology changes, so.
Yeah.
Everything changes, and if you don't change with it,
you just kind of be left in the dust. You're left in the background. Yeah, no, for sure.
And if you have a wife that's gonna make you change, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like directing you.
Yeah. No, she's
look at this shiny thing.
She's a good woman. As much as I fight against it sometimes, then she gets me. She gets me at the end.
What's your plan for like the next stage in evolution?
Well, we're trying to trend, right? We're trying to trend more online, and that's kind of where she's involved in, where I really had no idea with it, and I kind of left it alone. A lot of my business that I created in the beginning was done through word of mouth, really, and what she's brought into it and say, no, let's bring in tools like sales funneling, and then let's understand how you say things properly, and she really edited a lot of stuff that I was doing to be more on the trend line, to be more human-like with people that would follow us, and not just to be about cleaning, but about life and about family and about other things that probably don't have anything to do with cleaning at all, but they somehow attach to people, right?
No, I get it.
That's the whole human condition. It's a whole human feeling of how you attach to people on things like Instagram, for example.
Yeah, one thing I've learned when I decided to step back and not go back into corporate life and do my consulting business, do the podcast to kind of help people understand what others have gone through and how they use tools and what tools they use, is that you have to make sure that you're not selling a couple things. You're not selling a product.
Yeah.
You're selling yourself.
You're selling yourself, yeah.
But you don't want to go in and be like, this is what I'm going to give you, this is what I'm going to sell you. You have to, this is what I can do for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is how I can make your life better.
Yeah.
This is how I can make you more successful. And that's what it is all about.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that your customer receives the benefit of you.
Right.
Rather than you're taking.
Yeah, and like I said, we see it in trends. So we see it, for example, certainly on Instagram, and certainly in businesses such as cleaning. And it's one of the reasons I got into it is because no one's like my mother. Now I say that in a right way, because no one's like that mentality of woman that was a baby boomer that served the household while the man went to work and kept it pristine. And certainly my mother's kind of the last of those people to kind of do that and get up and do the dishes and do that and clean the whole house and make sure it's pristine, and worked off her own kind of schedule when everything used to be done. I certainly remember, growing up, and I know my mom washed the floors every Sunday, folded the clothes, and she ironed them and did all that on Sunday. And then Monday was another routine, and Tuesday was another routine on top of working, right? But we see now with the presence of, I guess, a lot of anxiety and a lot of people being stressed, and the movement is a lot faster now, right? So people need time, and so cleaning is a way of creating time.
It is
for people.
And you say like your mother, and you think of Mrs. Cleaver with pearls and heels vacuuming the living room
That's
floor.
pretty much what it was, right? That's pretty much what it was.
Of the way it used to be, and that was the vision.
They upkept themselves with their house.
That's
weird,
the vision
right?
that they gave you. They're in the kitchen ironing, and they're in their best dress, waiting for the husband to come home. But that's not the way it is anymore.
No, God no. It's cleaning has become stressful, and dusting or anything. Other than vacuuming, I think people still enjoy vacuuming just as a way of meditating.
Well, me, I have one carpet.
Yeah.
It's like the rest is hardwood. So
yeah. Well, I love hardwood.
It's a lot easier to
carpeting. Yeah, it's a lot easier to do carpeting.
Especially when the dog runs in from the outside.
Yeah.
You don't get muddy paw prints all over the rug. So, what kind of tools do you use? You said you're getting into sales. You're getting into sales.
Yeah. So we got. In the beginning, I was introduced to certain tools for my accounting and my sales. Not so much. Sorry. More of my accounting and payment system was one called WaveApp. WaveApp is a Toronto-based company, fairly new, but and they're always ever changing, always introducing new things to their area. So I use them a lot for my personal accounting, as far as anything that comes in and out financially. They kind of put things into perspective and say, okay, you can add this to one account for investing, this one you can put towards your kid's account for college or university. And so they know how to kind of divide it in percentages, which kind of relieves me as much as that. And I can always, it organizes it on my end to hand it to my accountant, essentially, right? It puts all these into books for me and say, okay, here's it all for you. And I don't have to really worry about it as much. Another one is that we use, let me check here for a second, because I never look at my phone these days. I know that we're using one called Trello, and Trello is an organizational app. Again, I'm sure a lot of people use Trello.
I love Trello.
Yeah, I love Trello as well, just because you can switch back and forth on what you're doing, what you've done, and it organizes all that. And because my thoughts are always scattered.
Yeah, I use Trello. I have multiple boards for Trello. It color coded.
Yeah,
so as I show it to you right now, it is like,
and the boards are shareable. So if you do have a business partner, it's kind of, you can add and discard as you go.
Yep.
Right.
So it depends on what I am doing. It's got I've got my personal.
Right.
I've got the business. I've got the podcast separated.
Yeah. And it's great. It's great that way. And
it's on every device. So
yeah, you can pick it from every device. Exactly.
I love Trello.
Yeah, it's kind of my wife's way of managing me again, and so I'll always see, there's 25 things on Trello I got to look at now.
And you can move them. And it's actually, I heard somebody in an interview once say that it's that endorphins that you get from moving it from your column to the done. It is true. It is really true. One interview I listened to that was talking about it said he even put snaps on there, and I loved it. And I commented about it on Twitter, and I actually tagged him on it on Twitter, and he responded. He goes, "Oh my God, that was so long ago." He goes, "But I still put naps on it."
Yeah. Does he have kids?
Probably. I don't know.
I don't think he'll take naps.
But he works from home, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would work.
So, if you had to give one piece of advice to somebody who is starting out, or one resource that you use that motivated you, what would it be?
Really, a piece of advice, just not giving up on things. I used to be a person to kind of give up a lot, and give up in the sense that if it became slightly hard, I would go to a different avenue, or I'd cut a corner, And that's just not the right way, especially in beginning in this business. And then I just started thinking, I'm like, well, anything that I've kind of learned in the past, hospitality-wise, I'm just going to transform it into what I'm doing now. I think a lot of tools are transferable in every business sense, even if you're a mechanic, to tell you the truth, and you're starting a business as a mechanic. And a lot of it, again, has to do with that, what can we offer you? Yeah, what can we offer you as far as beyond what we're offering you? To over-deliver in that sense. And we found that a lot, I found that a lot in especially in restaurants and hotels. It was the experience. More than the food. The food had to be great. It had to be the combination of everything. And you had to bring in that experience factor, that wow factor to the table, and kind of whisking people's problems away and understanding their problems at the same time, and individualizing everybody and understanding who they were and what they want and how. And so I learned that a lot along the way in the start of all this, is that we have the same customers. There's the same clients that I had in the restaurant, or my customers that I'm dealing with over here. And so just understanding that transferred knowledge that I had from there, I just added it to what I was doing. It made it a lot easier, and just getting to know people and their habits as well, how to be different in that sense. I mean, a cleaner comes in, and typically what it is, the game was, people come into your house, they clean whatever, and they kind of generalize it. I try to go beyond the scope of that and understand the individual themselves and the way they live their life, and try to adapt to it or make it better at the same time. So when I walk into a household, I don't just try to look at your house and go, okay, yeah, it's a little bit dirty, or there's dust over here. How do you live your life? You're a professional. You're working all the time. You're on the move. You don't have a chance to even really pick up things, or don't have the chance to do the garbage or do your laundry or stuff like that. And I kind of came in and go, well, I can do all that.
Have you figured out our life yet? It's constantly changing.
I don't want to put it on radio, but yeah. Or on podcast. But no. But you're not any different from a lot of other clients I have, and right? And so everybody's life is kind of just that busy on the go, and we try to figure out. We're also an organization company, so we also do organizing as far as, even to come in and do your closets and pick out through the stuff you don't need anymore. I think her name is Marie Kondo. Have you heard of Marie Kondo? And she's excellent at it. I mean, a lot of the things of folds and things she does, I think that's incredible. I don't know if anybody has time to fold like that. No. But just the organization that she has in her mind is kind of a spiritual thing, to be free of something, right? To feel the sense of that feng shui around the I try to make that organization around the room to make it comfortable for you, not just visually, but in the way that you use things as well. I think Matthew had said it one time. I saw you work, and you like instrumentally move things around. I'm like, yeah, because I'm just trying to pick in my head how you guys are going to touch things. How are you going to grab the converter all the time? I said, well, you're going to grab the converter with this hand on this side spot all the time. So I'm going to make sure that it's over here. A lot of it is OCD. A lot of it becomes OCD with everything that I do.
It's a lot of people do that. UPS did it when they did time studies on a long time ago on what hand their driver should carry the keys in.
Yeah, it's crazy though.
So they were more efficient. So it's the same
thing.
Yeah,
it's like, efficiency what it comes down to.
So
right?
If you're sitting there, where did it go? You know it's going to be in a similar place.
All the time, right? And I'll even ask the questions, and we have questionnaire sheets that we hand out to any new clients now, especially that'll give questions like that of, what would you like this? What would you like this to be? Especially when it comes to organizational, it becomes a little bit different when we do a decluttering work, because decluttering, people are attached to things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, people are attached to things like they had something from when they were 5 years old. I'm like, just give it up.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to somebody, another person I was interviewing this week, and he had moved, and he's getting boxes, and he's like, I have a couple boxes from when I moved a couple months ago that I haven't unpacked. Right. And he goes, and I figure, I think they came with me from my last place unpacked. I'm like, I've got boxes in the basement in storage from when I was in high school. High school memorabilia stuff, right?
Yeah.
I graduated decades ago. Am I going to need this? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, maybe one or two things that kind of, to tell anybody who's going to precede you, this is who I was, kind of idea. So I'm like, so it makes me think, I just need to go down there and dump it. Get a dumpster, drop it off, and dump it.
Yeah, essentially, a lot of it is unfortunately giving up the feeling of it and giving up what it was and moving on with it. you finally realize once you have decluttered everything, you've kind of given up. Not given up, sorry, I shouldn't say given up, but you've kind of moved on from a piece of your life and said, okay, I'm moving forward. I'm going to get rid of all this right
And
now.
let's bring this back then to what we were talking about you doing too many things. You have to declutter your schedule.
Yeah, you got to declutter your schedule.
So that you can actually do what makes you happy.
Exactly. And a lot of it has to do with even the letting go part of me physically working. I mean, I physically work like your property and a few other properties because there's a few clients that I still kind of want to personalize and keep for myself. But meanwhile, if I have ever have to bring a worker in here, I know the house perfectly enough that I tell the worker, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. I expect it all on a checklist and blah, blah, blah. And so it's a lot more comfortable for me to kind of take care of it. I know I have another client I just picked up who has cancer right now. And he's going through the chemo process. And eventually, it's, chemo, when you're going through the chemo process, it's just going to get a little bit worse because they're going to get sicker. Eventually, they can't move around as much. Yeah. And I took his house on personally instead of giving it off to somebody because I just want to make sure that when it gets to that point, I understand exactly what his lifestyle is at that point, that he can't move and what we have to move around, what we have to do for them. And then I can extend that knowledge to a worker and to take care of the property. Yeah. So I really like to be a little more personalized with clientele.
Yeah, that's the thing. Somebody asked me if I was still wanting to actually work on projects.
Right.
As well. I was like, that's something I don't ever want to give up.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy doing the podcast. I enjoy other things that I'm doing.
Right.
But project management is a passion. So yes, I want to work on projects.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mean, it's something. And if I'm going to talk about it, if I'm going to write about it, if I'm going to do all these things about it, I need to continually.
You need to continuously do it. Yeah.
Continuously do it.
Yeah,
grow my skills.
Yeah, for sure.
And
that's like any job, right?
Change exactly.
Or any passion, I should say.
As things change, understand what's changing, understand what's coming on.
Right. There's an evolutionary process in it, and what is new, what's trending, what's going to happen.
I mean, every couple of years they come out with a new PMBOK, a new body of knowledge that we have that changes, and we have to know what's changed.
What's changed, exactly.
And what are they expecting now?
Yeah.
So how do you keep track of all the schedules? How do you keep track of everybody? Who's going where? What's doing what? Is it a simple calendar?
A lot of that is done off of a calendar board. I mean, I still do a lot of pen and paper. I'm old school, and so
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I have to jot down what I'm thinking before I forget it. And these days that happens quite often. So I mean, I have to jot down, and then we have a calendar board, and my wife and I get together on a Sunday night and go, okay, well, what's going on this week? This has to be done. I mean, technically, I'm using my phone for calendars and who I have in my schedule and exactly what my month is going to look like. But then we draw it down on a board and say, okay, such and such is happening today. They're going on vacation soon, so we have to make sure that this and this is done in their kitchen to make sure this is prepped for them when they get back. So the particulars get done on the Sunday, and so all those devices happen, and that's kind of where we try to lead our business. When I'm trying to say, but we try to be a little more personalized with people. We really try to dwell into what their life is all about, and so we go particular from customer to customer, what they like, what they don't like, what they. I have a guy who doesn't like me really touching his kid's stuff, and that's great. That's awesome. He's very particular with it because they're very much germaphobes. They'll even go and so much to ask me, "You kid sick? Are you sick? Or this?" I'm like, "No, we're fine this week." And it's it's some people probably get annoyed about it, but we kind of just welcome it and say, "Okay, well, this is personalized to him. This is what he likes. So why not? Let's just figure it out. And that's what we do on Sunday. So yeah, we try to build month to month on calendars on our phone and say, okay, this is what we got going on for the month, and then we pull that up. We look at a calendar physically and we write down, okay, this is what the particulars are. And so then we look at that, and then we just write out lists, and we just using our computer, we write out checklists, and then we hand those out to our workers, and then the workers go out. And then what a lot of my job is, I actually physically travel to each client's house that we have right now. I don't know how much more I can do that in the future, but for now, it's kind of what I do. And I look at the checklist, and I go through the scope of the house to make sure they're done, and then I walk away. And that's kind of what my introductory is to clients that I bring on, and say, this is what we do, and this is what we're going to do. And it's a lot of it is to justify our costs at the same time, because everything has a cost to it, unfortunately. But we try to be fair with that in that perspective as well. Employee-wise as well, we try to bring on people that fit our idealism, I guess, and not just to be a hard worker, but to be a free thinker and to be a thinker on the spot, because we can make mistakes too, and we want to welcome people that kind of can answer our questions and help us along the way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to make mistakes. It's
it's
learning from them, and then
being
like you said, on the spot. What can I do to correct this or make sure this?
Yeah, and then a lot of that was brought up in the hotel industry, and so in restaurants especially, you have to really think on the spot. And there's drink spilled on somebody. What am I going to do right now? How am I going to react to this?
So if people want to get a hold of you or find out more about your business, you're not very active right now on social media, I don't think. You're active on Instagram.
We're active on Instagram right now. We have a Facebook account going off. We're working on things done in the funnel as well. I do things for foundations. I know Cancer Society. We do things for the Trust Foundation, Heart and Stroke, things like that. So we get involved a lot in charity work. Hats Off is another big one that we do. GPower.ca, that's kind of something that we're rebranding right now, so in the middle of a lot of stuff going on, especially because my wife joined on now. But and podcasting as well. I'm trying to create my own kind of podcast off business topic, and it's kind of more for a self-help kind of podcast to help people that have suffered with anxiety, depression, anything like that. And it's kind of open. It's an open forum to a lot of people to just talk. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think people need just to talk to somebody. Right?
That's so important. You and I were talking earlier that I used to do the Bad Ride, Bikers Against Distress. Every year for the last couple of years, and it's going away. And it was a fundraiser for the distress centers.
Right.
And sometimes it's like it was basically to keep the phone lines open, because that's all people want sometimes is just to talk. Yeah. They just need somebody that is going to listen to them and hear them.
Yeah. Not to put down any psychiatrists. I mean, they work a long time to figure out the human mind, or any counselors that they're doing great work. I think it's just affordability. I mean, I've gone to a counselor. It cost me about $200 a session. Yeah, every time I go. So once a month we go, and I used to go, and a couple $100, whatever it was. So I wanted to do something that's kind of open to the public, the people who can't afford it, right? Just can't say, just come and talk to me. Just come and talk to me. Sometimes you just need to speak to somebody.
Yeah, whether you're not going to
de-stresses you.
Yeah,
right?
It does. Sometimes you're just so in your head, and if you don't get it out of your head, then
and I mean, in the rise of what we've seen in technology in the last decade, let's just say, between Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, we're a little bit disconnected. Yeah, we're a little bit disconnected with ourselves, and so what used to work in the past. I mean, if I had a problem, I would call up a buddy, and we'd meet up, and we'd talk. I still do it sometimes, and we just kind of talk. We talk through it. Yeah, a lot of people are afraid to talk through that right now, and so I think it's good to kind of force somebody onto a forum and say, okay, speak to me. What's going on? What's going on with you?
And it's a little more anonymous that way as well sometimes, so they may not feel as threatened as if
I mean, they can come on the pod and not use their real name. It doesn't matter. It's just it's a conversation I want people to hear, because they might get something from it. Yeah,
exactly. So GPower.ca, is that?
Yeah, www.gpower.ca.
And what about on Facebook and Instagram? How do they?
GPower as well. GPower on Facebook. GPower on Instagram.
GPower everywhere?
GPower everywhere. GPower, believe it or not, was a name made up from powerlifting. I'm a competitive powerlifter, ex-competitive powerlifter now anyways. I've got rusty knees. I originally attended to a business that I wanted to do strength and conditioning, and so GPower was the name of it. And then kind of when I gave that up, thinking that I can do this, GPower just transferred a name.
It actually works, though.
Yeah, does it? Okay, great.
It does. It works for it.
To think that you're a power cleaner, that's kind of what we're
It does. Well, I thank you for your time. I thank you
not
for
a problem.
everything.
Thank you.
And seeing you soon.
Yeah, for sure. We'll probably see you in a couple weeks. Thanks a lot.
Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Project Management for Small Business. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be on the show, or if you have any questions you want answered, send me an email at pmforsb@pavproconsulting.com. And don't forget, if your day starts with a T, it's time for some new tips and tricks. Thanks for listening. Until next time.